Hello and welcome to Dreamcatcher Radio. Just recorded episode 15 on the Greenfeeds case, and uh, I'm at a bit of a segue of really how I move forward with continuing on with this story, um, which is quite painful to have to basically really learn what your gut feeling tells you that something went very, very wrong. Not just the deaths. I I never want to discount the deaths that happened that evening, but Gillian Leivers is in jail, and the series thus far is uncovering so many issues which ought to have been dealt with. Bearing in mind there's a significant breathing period between the event that evening and to when this actually went to trial. And we're here to just really do a deep dive into the Greenfeeds case. I am not biased by any stretch of the imagination, despite what people say. Dreamcatcher Radio are being paid by Ian Leivers to do these episodes. Absolutely not, without a doubt. Um, and we're doing this for the listeners and a moment of fame. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. We're covering this story because I believe, it's my belief personally, as the owner of Dreamcatcher Radio, is that Gillian Leivers, is a victim here too, as well as the two people that died. Because trust me, the explanations given today about what actually happened does not stack up whatsoever. Does not. I don't understand how Gillian Leivers received a lengthy prison sentence and she still remains in jail today. There's no rehabilitation to be done, that's for sure. She seems like a decent person by all the accounts we've been given. We had a number of people come forward, and I've spoken to them where possible, who want to come on the radio or suggested they're going to come on the radio. Generally don't. They don't really, to be honest. They just want to be agitators. But it's been is personal attacks on Ian Leivers. We're here to understand why Gillian Leivers is in jail. The more we look into the case, and the more the official story begins to unravel, we've got many more documents to go through yet. We haven't got access to them yet, but we are planning to carry this series through. But if you are a follower, and there's many people that do actually follow this series, it leaves you a bit bewildered, lost in the woods for me. And I'm not here to sensationalize the story. We're here because things don't add up. Gillian wasn't even the owner of Greenfeeds. She was the wife of the owner. And there's staff on site with a vast amount of experience that had significant responsibilities that night or evening. Yet she's the one serving a significant sentence, while major questions about what actually happened that night remain unanswered. Multiple staff were there during the incident. Their accounts varied wildly. These eureka moments that suddenly come up extensively later. The accounts contradict each other. And they even contradict themselves. And astonishingly, which amazes me, that one individual that was present that evening has never been identified during the trial. how is that possibly could happen in which there's a case involving not just one death, but 2 deaths? This is not a simple story. It's an extraordinary one, and not in a good way. We're not the jury, and we're not claiming to know the truth. The only way I believe the truth will come out, and unfortunately, this doesn't happen in the UK, is get all those people that were present in the night in the room and argue it out together and see what happens. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. What we are doing is simply asking questions that should be asked from the beginning. This, in my view, I'm not legally qualified, is an unsafe conviction. Why were the inconsistencies never resolved between people? Solicitors, barristers in this case, or QCs in this case, why did they not challenge the police obligations to do their work, or the HSE to do their work? How did so many investigative bodies fail to do their job? Now, Ian simply says, well, some officer, sergeant, or whomever come out of the car and said, no, questioning his juniors, this is not a suspicious incident. It's literally a crime of employer negligence. And then that appears to me as being the theme thereafter. How that narrative can be derived, if Ian's account is correct, so quickly and promptly is beyond me. And how that was never questioned by the defence team also. Because you've got to bear in mind there's 2 victims here as well that have lost their lives. They're dead. Absolutely dead. And you've got Gillian in jail, who I believe ought not to be in jail. Yet, you've got all these stakeholders throughout the chain here. You've got Ian's health and safety experts. You got people making statements about going into tankers, which they never went into tankers. All this sort of stuff. Yet, apparently, Greenfeeds essentially run a business where the inevitable was that people are going to die. They're just waiting for the moment. Yet, the business continued on as per normal after 2 men lost their lives. One thing that's becoming painfully clear, what happened that evening has never been fully, properly, or transparently investigated. The police, the HSE, have later understood about the DVSA, and even in defence, have left gaping holes in the narrative. Holes big enough to swallow any hope, in my opinion, of justice for the 2 victims and for Gillian and Ian Leivers. We're unpacking the theories, the contradictions, and the overlooked evidence, and the systematic failures that allowed this case to unfold the way it did. I'm not even pointing fingers. We're just putting a light on the issues, and we're peeling back the layers. And the uncomfortable truths keep unfolding. And believe it or not, people do end up in prison for crimes they did not commit. The question is, in my mind, did this happen here?